Hello, all my beautiful people. It is time once again for another amazing episode of If You Give a Dad a Podcast. So this week I have with me two people, and they were actually recording with me in my garage. And that is Ivan Warsaw and Michael St. James. They are both part of the Ozark Mountain Wrestling. Ivan is a ex-NXT wrestler, and he now wrestles for Ozark Mountain. And Michael St. James is the owner of Ozark Mountain Wrestling. I was very excited to have them in studio with me this time, and we had such a long conversation that I ended up having to split this up into two episodes. So you'll get this part now, and then you'll get the second part the following Monday. So I hope that you guys enjoy this episode, and for those of you who are here just to hear the Ivan Warsaw and Michael St. James episode, welcome. I hope that you enjoy what you hear, and I hope that you stick around and listen to some of the other great episodes that we have here. So, if you guys are as excited as I am, then let's get this show on the road.
If You Give a Dad a Podcast. Hey, Dad.
So where did you actually train at?
I made a really good career out of being able to bump, sell, and I had a punch me face.
I wasn't about to call you Dad, so...
Seriously?
I felt like it was in an anime or something.
People get really mad at those videos for some reason. Like, it triggers certain people, yeah.
Wow.
I was actually lost as an infant, and I was taken in by a traveling group of independent wrestlers.
I love it. I'm excited for this one.
Bro.
Get punched in the face on the daily. Do you always do these interviews with your shirt off?
What?
Man, this guy won't shut up.
Okay, before I get started, you ever had a design in mind and you wanted to put it on a shirt or a hat or a cup, but you just didn't know who to go to? Well, come on over to R&L Designs, where they make all of your custom needs come true. They make custom hats, they make custom shirts, they make custom mugs, they even do the tumblers and the glass mugs as well. They do key fobs even. They have great prices, and they have a reasonable turnaround time. If you need anything custom, these are the people that you need to hit up today. You can find them on Facebook, and that is at R&L Designs. You can also find them on Instagram at R&L Designs 19. They have a Facebook page. They have an Instagram page. They update it regularly with new products. You can also message them if you have something in mind. Hit them up today for all of your custom needs. Give them a like, give them a follow. All right, everybody. So today I have with me two guests in my garage with me. I am very excited to have them both. It is Ivan Warsaw and Michael St. James. Ivan is an Arkansas-based wrestler, and Michael St. James is the owner of Ozark Mountain Wrestling. I am very excited to have them both here with me today.
Yes, we are in the house.
Yes.
We're not on Zoom call. We are all together on this.
Live and in person.
Yeah, this is great.
Yeah, well, thank you for having us, Jared.
Yeah, can't
thank
believe
y'all
you
for
let us in.
So, it's been a minute. I mean, we've talked back and forth over Facebook and things like that, trying to get this all set up, and we finally got a date nailed down. And I am very excited to do this. I've been cleaning my house most of the day, making sure everything's good, because, my wife is like, you can't have anybody here unless the house is clean.
Well,
so
it looks great.
Get to work.
Yeah, did a good job.
I appreciate that. So we'll kind of just jump right into everything.
Let's jump.
So, Ivan, how did you actually get into wrestling? What was your one moment that was like, this is what I want to do?
All right, my one moment, and I think about this a lot. I think about it more now that I have a kid, and when I watch other people. I knew this was something for me, like when I was 3. So when I was born, I was born a year WrestleMania started. So my age number goes with the WrestleMania number, right?
Okay, yeah.
But, and the big thing was Hulk and Iron Sheik and all that. As a kid, though, I'd always wrestle my dad, my brother, and our neighborhood friends, and it was great. And I took it in, like, I remember watching, like, I'd get into the things that was happening. But even, like, I remember, like, at 5, I'd watch wrestling consistently enough to where I knew, okay, on this program, here's this group of guys, and they seem to be going to a different city every day. And on this program, it's a different set of guys, and they seem to be going different. So they got to see each other all the time, you know. So there's got to be some kind of, still a brotherhood against the good guys and bad guys. But they still don't like each other, you know. Yeah. But that's when I started thinking, this is more than just a comic book game. This is a traveling job, living that you do consistently, not just to do it, you know. I don't know. I feel like, you know, I don't know. You meet some people that are like wrestling, and they could be whatever age, and they'll never get that point.
Yeah.
You know, and that's not bad.
Right.
That's not bad. I guess I've always kind of had a deep, serious take towards wrestling.
Okay.
You know, never felt like making fun of it or nothing. But when I was talking about my kid and everything, I see so many people, these, like, even people my age or older, they got no idea what they want to be, where they want to go, and I'm like, man, I wish I could help them. I just don't know what that's like because I never had that, you know. But, you know, it's important to find that and to know when you do find it, when you come across it. I knew it when I was so little, so I never had a second doubt. My parents always thought I'd grow out of it.
Right.
You know, you get that, oh, he'll grow out of it, and then when you're in high school, oh, God,
what was I thinking?
I'll still grow out of it. I guess it'll be after high school, and then you get to like 18 or 20, you're like, oh, I think I'll go wrestling, Mom and Dad, or go wrestling training and shit. Oh, don't you think you should go to college? You know, don't you see how stupid you are? And I'm like, oh, I'll show them. I'll do both. And when I started wrestling training is when I started college also, and then it's also when I moved out of the house, and that's also when I started working full time to try. 2 hours of sleep a day, maybe. You know.
Where did you go to college at?
I was at trade school in Memphis, Tennessee.
Okay.
Where you know, I started training in West Memphis, Arkansas, and then working FedEx ground loading trucks.
At the big plant there in Memphis.
Yeah, well they got FedEx in the air at that big airport.
Yep.
Their deal, but this was at the loading 18-wheeler trucks at FedEx ground because they didn't drug test, and so I could get a job there at the time. You know what I mean? But they still don't drug test.
Okay.
So I could go back and get a job anytime. But no, you know, okay, working the night shift and then going to school in the daytime. I can't remember. Sometimes something happened and it flopped, and then I did something at night, and I went to school in the day, and, you know, it was just all, you know, it was some good hard work for a 20-year-old.
Right on. Yeah, no.
Yeah.
All right, man. Yeah, that's.
What about you? You like wrestling for a long time, correct?
I have. I've liked it my entire life. I mean, as early as I can remember.
Uh-huh.
So I have an uncle, and he got me into wrestling. We used to have WCW. Like that's what we watched mostly when I was a kid, and it was, you know, when it was Flat Top, Surfer Sting, WCW. You know,
Steiner Brothers.
They were my favorite tag team.
Yeah,
Steiner Brothers were
great.
the best, you know. I was the one who was over there, hoo, 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 you know. And I had the trading cards and all that stuff.
Yeah, I had those too, yeah.
And so I watched that. And my brother also wrestled in Oklahoma for a while.
Oh, wow, good.
Whenever he was in his 20s. So, you know, it kind of was in my blood a little bit. And it's something I never grew out of, like you said.
Yeah.
You know, it's something that's always been there, kind of a constant, you know. There were times where I didn't watch it as much, but it wasn't something that I was like, oh, that's stupid. You know, it was always something that I loved. Oh, yeah. So, and then now I get to do this, and I'm not technically a wrestling podcast, but I have a lot of wrestlers on here because that's one of my favorite things in life, you know. I watch all the major products. I watch everything that isn't major that I can as well. So, you know, it's fun, and it's something that
Well, I ain't going to go that far.
found a love with. You know.
Mike, let's hear about you.
Oh,
yeah.
I mean, I think the same thing that both of you have said, just lifelong fan.
Yeah.
It's funny that we sat down and of course, Ivan, you have your Memphis roots, and you're from Marion.
Yep.
So
Yeah.
I lived in a little town called Marktree, not very far from both of those.
Uh-huh.
And I am a tad bit older than both of you, so most of my early wrestling memories were of Jerry Lawler.
Yep.
This the great Memphis territory with Bill Dundee and Jimmy Valiant and some of those guys, and grew up idolizing that. And yeah, I don't know what the moment was either, but it was pretty early on that I just loved it. And it was such a big deal in Memphis. And it was the Midsouth Coliseum and studio wrestling. I never physically felt that I could grow up to be Jerry Lawler, but I would have loved to have been Lance Russell. I think was my hero, and just what a great announcer he was. And then moved to Northwest Arkansas in around 81. And then that was, I think, when really Mid-South and out of Oklahoma was hitting its stride with Ted DiBiase and Steve Dr. Death Williams, and just that incredibly physical style of wrestling, and became a huge fan of that. And yeah, I mean, like you said, I consume just about everything. We're living in a good time because there is so much out there.
Well, but now we need to talk, guys. Let's get real though. There's so much out there, but does it all need to be out there?
Well, that's
let's take it. Let's well, no, because it's real though. Because I since I started and coming in through training, and I was consistent for 9 years, and then after I got released from WWE, I took 7 years in the oil field, and now that page is turned. I get back in, and there's some things that don't ever change, maybe, but sometimes they get worse. But there's a standard that has been the bar has been lowered, and maybe the crowd has shrunk in some places, and maybe the people that are there appreciate what they see, but that doesn't mean it's right, and it doesn't mean it couldn't be better.
One thing I've noticed for this area in particular is until recently there wasn't that much wrestling here.
Right.
And so I think that even for me, because I just started watching independent wrestling in this area this year, I think it was March is whenever I first started watching. I didn't even know we had anything here, and so I was grabbing up anything that I could at the time. But over time, you realize, okay, so this is where I need to watch, and this is where I need to watch, But when you first find out, for me, I was just excited. I was like, oh, I want to go to all of it.
Oh, yeah.
But you're right. There is a difference in quality.
Well, wrestling spans a wide spectrum, and there's many ways to do it. There's many ways to do it right, and sometimes people like to hang on to that thought that there's more than one way to do it right, but there's also the wrong way.
There's more than one wrong way to do it, too.
You can do it right or you can do it wrong,
yeah.
But you need to know the difference and what makes it so. And not that wrestling has to be one way,
right?
But whatever you're doing, you should strive to do it the right way.
Yeah, no, I get that.
Well, and I think that's we were talking a little bit earlier. One of the reasons we launched Ozark Mountain Wrestling was because we wanted to do it the right way.
Yeah.
And I think we've done that since our first show back in March of this year. We have been committed to presenting wrestling how we feel it's the right way to be done, and I think that we have, and I think that our fans would tell you the exact same thing.
Yeah,
and that's what we're committed to.
Right.
Is to continue to do that. From here on out.
Oh, till eternity.
Yeah,
that's all I can do. My energy's just directed that way. It'll never change.
From what I hear, I haven't actually got to see an Ozark Mountain Wrestling show.
Right, you said that earlier. I was about to. I swear I slapped the butt. No, I was kidding.
I plan on coming to the next one that you guys have.
Yeah.
Awesome. And
well, hey, let's talk about that.
Okay.
Hey, right quick. Well, I don't run the joint, so Mike, go ahead and
absolutely
cut the strip, man.
We will have a big announcement soon. We are planning on running a show in January. We are crossing some T's and dotting some I's as far as the location goes, but we're really excited about that. It's going to be a great show. We've everything's in place. Just having
but did you tell them January? Did you say January?
Did.
All right. Just remember this, folks. January is probably going to be the third weekend of January.
Yep.
I'm just guessing.
Yep, that should be right.
And we'll tell you more. Just
a new location that we will tell you about very soon. But follow us on. Make sure you follow us on across all of our social media platforms. You bet. So we're I think Twitter.
I don't know about Twitter. I can't get on any of that. See, listen, folks.
It's probably good that you don't.
My fingers don't type on those pages because if they did, I'd I'd kill the business. I guess.
But on Facebook, on Instagram, it's Ozark Mountain Wrestling. The website is ozarkmountainwrestling.com, and then Twitter is at OMWinfo. And that's the best way to stay up to date. But be looking for announcements coming really soon about the next show, and then big plans for the rest of 2023.
Oh, huge, man.
I'm very excited to see that.
You bet.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. It's exciting to see the amount of wrestling that's going to be in this area too.
Yeah. It's I went to high school in this area, a couple years ago, and I wish there was pro wrestling. I probably wouldn't have gotten some of the stupid things I got into if there was some kind of pro wrestling going on over here.
I understand. Yeah. So, what would you say some of your influences in wrestling are for character-wise?
All right, so I can cut this up into different ways, right?
Okay.
But if you're looking for who are some of my wrestler influences?
Okay,
I really like this Razor Ramon, Bret Hart. A lot of of course, Steiner Brothers and all that. We can name the wrestlers and all that. But who are my really influences? On what makes me tick. One, Henry Rollins be towards the top. Henry Rollins is my big influence. Henry and Bruce Lee. Slayer, the band Slayer.
All right.
And Jeffrey Dahmer, I just got to be honest with you. If you didn't know by now, I just can't get enough. But when I was training one time, when I was early, training, doing promos, and it can feel awkward to be unique sometimes, and it takes sometimes you gotta go against the grain plenty until that smooths over going that way or something. But it's weird. Sometimes it can be weird at first, not fitting in with the group, or you got to know I don't going to fit in with the group. I shouldn't fit in with the group, so don't even try, right? But in training, trying to cut these wrestling promos and stuff, and it was just just stinky and everything. And then one of my friends came over and he was like, "What are you doing, Kevin? Well, I was trying to cut a promo, man. He's like, what are you talking about though in there? You're trying to cut this wrestling promo." I'm like, yeah, that's what we're doing. He's like, yeah, but that's not you. Well, what do you mean? He's like, well, I hung out with you. You listen to Slayer. You talk about serial killers. You do some crazy stuff and this and that. Talk about that. Just put that in a promo. I was like, man, you can't just really do that, can you? He's like, well, why not? I was like,
got a good point.
I was like, damn, why not? Yeah, you gotta. Sometimes you color in the lines, and sometimes you can make your own lines because that's how you draw. And then when you started doing that, then it started. But that's where I kind of started getting some, really take some pieces of who you are and put them in you. And I've always been, the weirdo, very different stuff. And then, don't shy away from that now. When you're doing some weird stuff, it is kind of awkward anyway, running around in some pantyhose in front of everybody with some shiny prostitute boots up to your knees and everything. So go ahead and get weird with it and talk about some crazy stuff and make it work. And it did. Well, I don't know. I feel like it's all right.
Some of the best characters that are out there are the ones that are the most unique. Mm-hmm. Some of the most iconic characters in wrestling are the ones that you like. When they first come out, you're like, "Whoa, what the heck is that?"
Well, yeah,
You know?
yeah. How many generic wrestler ones do we need though?
Right.
We need those.
Oh, for
but
sure.
how many?
Yeah.
And they're all out there though.
Yeah.
So what's the odds?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If we're gonna play the lottery, we're gonna play the one with the fewest numbers.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Be different because we got plenty of this. Oh, we don't got that thing though. What is that? Oh, you see that thing over there? Yeah, it can't even describe. You know, as long as it's appealing in some kind of way, or
Interesting.
Yeah,
it has to grab the crowd's attention.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's my influences, but as far as like wrestlers and stuff, I mean, we can get to naming all the wrestlers because we all know the good ones.
Yeah. Is there a specific style that you try to?
Oh, like I don't know. I never liked a style that I didn't believe. Like if you made me, there's some Memphis wrestling I like.
Yeah.
And there's some of that what they would call Tennessee bullshit wrestling that I don't like. I can have fun with some of it, but after you see the guy run by Dundee several times hitting the ropes, well, I've seen it again. It's just me. Some people love it. But ask me what I like. I like the stuff like
It seems real.
Let me see Chris Benoit. Let me see him chop somebody and, see the sweat flying. Let me hear the slapping, Exactly. Let me, if you get that to the face, I don't want to see light through it,
Exactly.
I should, I knew even as a kid, like I should be afraid to get in there with those guys.
Right.
I should be afraid to jump the rail, and, that's what turned me on, in anything that kind of went more into the extreme.
Yeah.
Well, not to the extreme, because that's a funny word that can get tossed around too, because some things try to be extreme, but they lose the parameters of what quality is.
Right.
And,
yeah.
But
it just becomes a gore fest at some point, to where it's like, where's the story at there?
Uh-huh.
Yeah. No, I understand what you're saying. Yeah, that's I've always been a fan of a lot of the Jericho, Benoit, Dean Malenko, people like that. Their style, it made sense with what they did, and it was that snug style. Like you said, when somebody's doing a hold, you don't want to be able to see daylight through that hold, you know? And so I like the ones that make it look real, because that's what I'm there to watch, is something that looks real.
Man, here's the thing, man. You two haven't been in the ring with Fit Finley, but watch Fit Finley, and you're like, man. Well, I don't know that, but you would have told me.
I haven't. Yeah.
But I had a match with Finley, and man, it was fun. It was great. He was on the apron outside the ropes, and I was going to come over the top with a big boot, hit him in the face, knock him off the thing. By that time, and we were working good. It wasn't like I was like pissed or nothing. But working with Jerry Lawler, if I was going to kick him in the face, it's going to be real nice. Real nice, baby. But when I got my chance with Philly, anyway, that's how he wants it, and that's how the match was, and it was. I couldn't wait to kick him in the face. Yeah, give him a nice big boot, and but then I was getting off on it too, Right. I prefer some of that.
Right. That's one person, Fit Finley. I loved watching him and William Regal.
Oh yeah, Regal. Oh shoot, son.
Those two wrestling together was wonderful.
Oh, and then if you ever met Regal,
yeah,
your panties would be wet because he's so great. I mean, just the way he talks and the way he'll talk to you, the way he'll look at you when you're like he'll talk to you like I think he thinks I am something. I'm not just a piece of just normal human sitting in front of him. He's a genuine guy. Yeah. Regal's great.
So I did want to talk about that a little bit because you did wrestle in NXT from 2012 to 2014.
Yeah. So and we're going to be honest here. So it's almost 2014. I got released right before Christmas of 2013, but let's just say 2014. Can we do that? Is that okay?
That's fine.
If anybody doesn't like it, just text me and cuss me out.
It's not their show, so
right. Okay,
this is my show.
Text Jared.
That's right.
Yeah, text him.
Me. It's fine. It's 2014. So, what was it like the tryout to get to do that? Where did you have to go? What did you have to do? What was that? What was that like?
So I had several like actual tryouts before this. One at in Louisville at OVW Arena. Probably a year before this. Prior to that, I had some of those extra talent gigs, but I don't consider those tryouts. Those are extra talent gigs, but it's still opportunity to get in front of people.
Okay, yeah.
By the third one of those, the first one, that was kind of exciting. The second one, not so much exciting. The third one, I said, I ain't ever doing this again. If I come back in this operation, it's the extra talent gig kind of, I don't know. Some people enjoy it. I just want more than that. And so then I sent in a package to Dr. Tom at FCW in Tampa, and he thought it was cool and everything. Wanted some matches, sent him those. Great matches. Come on down, 5 or 6 days. You're going to be a tryout with a bunch of other people. Great. Then we get to okay. And it was like a week later or 2 weeks, I can't remember, or maybe a few days. We got to the tryout. And then it's Bill DeMott going to run it. In between there is when they had that exchange out with Tom, and here's Bill.
Yeah.
And so we show up to try, and like, oh, yeah, Bill DeMott, and that's cool, Yeah. And
was it as bad as they say it was with him?
Depends on who you ask.
Really?
He'll have you in good shape. He'll have you motivated. He can make you feel good about, like, I'm gonna run through this brick wall because he got me,
right.
thinking I can, and stuff. And as a coach and everything, good. My opinion, though. And everybody plays the game different. Everybody does their job different. So I'm not saying right or wrong or anything here. Just make that clear, because I don't want to be bitter. When I got released, I got bitter, and then I started, I'm having fun. And then it's like, it's not the way to go and stuff. This is not a bitterness thing, but I just don't feel a trainer or like a head coach should be so political.
I get you. Yeah.
And that's where, and I had gotten my head pretty confused on some things, and
there's a time and place for that, and that's not the time or place for politics and things like that.
Yeah, and some people aren't really going to really get quite what that means in a sense,
right?
But sometimes we hear these words and it's like, oh, and it must be something so grand, but now sometimes it's just so simple, like coming in for a workout, and then you got this idea, or you presented something, and it's, hey, Bill, did you watch this? What do you think of this? I don't know. I'm still trying to wrap my head around it. Just that simple.
Yeah.
Well, it's easy to wrap your head. Come on.
Okay.
But
I get what you're saying. Yeah.
Stuff like that. I don't know an answer until the person above me has an answer.
I got you. Okay, that kind of politics. I get what you're saying.
And it's hard. Well, you're my head trainer. Who am I going to for about direction, or what am I doing?
Right.
And I got to a point while I was down there, where, and I couldn't have a good match. Like I forgot how to have a good match. And it was my fault.
Yeah.
And it was all in me. If anybody that listens, if you get an opportunity and stuff, build a compass in yourself. When you get lost in the woods, look inside you, follow that compass. It'll tell you what you should do. If it doesn't work and you maybe get released, fine. You might get released anyway. At least go home and, either way, hold your head high, but you'll feel better about it. Right. You follow your look inside, because you got a different producer at every different show that wants kind of different flavor of work and stuff, and you got, this guy telling you this, but he's telling you this, and you pulling and everything, and you just got to look inside and take it all in and then find your way. That would have worked better for me.
Right.
I think Sammy Callahan said a lot of stuff like that one time in a podcast. It would be good.
Okay.
But yeah, I got Bill was good. I mean, he put the screws to you.
Yeah.
A lot of blow up drills and everything. I mean, yeah, right. the blow up. I don't know. Did you hear about blow up drills or something?
I did. I heard that from it was stuff that came out in the media, you know, and you don't actually know what exactly happened because people are going to say,
"Oh well." Now you also got to think though, this on this scale, it's not wrestling. We're not pro wrestling. We're not. This is a corporate business.
Yeah,
is what it is. So in wrestling, I'm a trainer. You're a trainee and stuff, and we can communicate in such a way.
Yeah.
But now you're in the corporate business. And then now you communicate a different way, and there's reports, and there's typing, and there's things, and that you know, I'm more of an old school person, so I don't really think all that's necessary. But these days, they don't care what people like me think. So
I get it. I'm right there with you on that. Yeah. But no, what I had read was, you know, he had been. I guess he would take liberties with different talent and stuff like that.
Well, okay. Well, now he would do some stuff. And he would pick and choose on that.
Right. Okay.
You know, and I swear, okay, because I was talking to somebody about this one time, and I was like, man, I always thought, because I was always, it wasn't nothing like I thought was bad. Like, if a guy was like stretching and it was by the ropes and he was like, kind of laying flat on some kind of stretch, and Bill was walking by. If it was like a certain guy, he would like maybe kind of grab him, pull him out a little bit under the rope, and then like maybe give him a little club in the chest, you know, palm, and you know he might say something. I had no problem, like, you know, I thought it was playful, so I'm like, but I always thought like, man, this fat boy's gonna come do some shit to me though, man, you know. And I kept thinking it's coming. I'm like, sometimes I got bad reactions.
Yeah.
So I try to, you want to pre-plan your reactions, you know. And I'm like, and he never did. And I wonder why, I think he thought, I might have a bad reaction. I don't know. I could be wrong though.
Yeah. He knew his audience.
Yeah, he knew his audience. Yeah. That's a good Bill. That's a good tip from Bill. Know your audience.
Yeah. So this is good stuff. I'm really enjoying.
Man, this is good. This is great.
I'm having a great time. I love. If I could have more like this would be awesome.
Yeah.
You know, having people in here with me, so I'm not just huddled around a microphone.
Yeah. No, it's got feeling.
Yeah. Exactly. So I do want to switch over here a little bit and talk with you, Mike. So you run the company of Ozark Mountain Wrestling. Yep. Do you have as I said, I haven't actually been to a show yet or not. Do you have what you would consider an on-screen presence with the company as well?
No, not really.
He said something on the microphone.
I did. Okay.
Yes,
I did. We had a situation where we had a couple of guys that were taking some liberties, and I was beginning to get tired of it, and we had our main event in our last show.
How about BC Lee yelled at you?
He did, but he made a good point.
He made a good point.
He made a really good point, and I wanted to make sure that our fans went home happy, and so I continued. I guess the main event made it a tag match, and BC and Big Jim Fitz were able to get a little bit of revenge against Rodney Mack in the Midnight Special, but no, I mean not anything.
I'm trying to push him out there and say, hey, when Rodney comes in, just get up in his face and tell him what's what once or twice.
I don't know if I'm ready to do that. Just Rodney Mack's an intimidating guy, but no, really. I mean, I think the way that I see myself is just running the front of the house. Okay. If you want to look at it that way, and trying to make sure that our fans have a good experience. They're that everything is running smooth and the
fun
building, fun atmosphere. We were talking a little bit earlier. Something that's important to me, and it's just a personal thing, but if we say a show's going to start at 7, we start at 7.
Right.
And if we're going to have an intermission, and we say it's 20 minutes, it's a 20-minute intermission. I mean, I think that's. I mean, I've been to. And Ivan, you've been to, I'm sure, been a part of and been to them where
you can say wrestling shows, or concerts or anything like that, man.
Where just things just drag, and it's a long time, and you can really burn a crowd out. But I think what we do, the way that we present it, the run it professionally, get fans in there. It's a great show for 2 hours, 2.5 hours, and they're invested the whole time. So, Yep. Okay.
Well, I mean, they get tired after a while, too, so you got to kind of keep that energy going. If you give them too much time to kind of die down, then, I know it's kind of like I think of it like this with me. If I'm cleaning the house, if I stop and take a break, I'm never going to get that momentum back that I had before.
That's a good point.
Cleaning the house, you know. And I feel it's the same way with the crowd, you know. They start mulling around, getting their hot dogs, their autographs, and they're like, okay, I'm ready to go, or I'm ready to sit down. They're not ready for that next match, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So, no, I get that. You got to keep that schedule going.
Absolutely.
So, when you started the company, what was your main focus when it came to looking for new talent and stuff?
I'll tell you this. So, and my role is more of I don't know what you say, director or something. I'm like, you know, because I'm out there wrestling, you got an eye for some things, and these guys, whatever.
Yeah.
But main purpose would be, man, I'm looking for a building to set up shop for training. I want to. I will have a building.
Well, because y'all been doing the J Street Gym for most of your stuff.
Well, for our show. But I'm talking about I want to home grow.
Okay, so like
some talent. Yeah, I want to have a training facility, a building, whatever you want to call it, a place with my ring in it, and some other stuff, and train guys and bring them up through my way, I guess. Well, it's not really my way. It's just what I've been shown and taught and what I've heard. But until that happens, you know, something I like to see out of guys, you know, I don't see it enough is guys that are willing to challenge themselves to do something different than what they're. Some guys may be used to going into a match a certain way, and you give them a, hey man, why don't you think about going into your match like this?
Yeah.
You never done it before, right? Because I can tell you haven't ever done it before. Why don't you try it and see what happens?
Yeah.
And you can tell them things. Oh yeah. But then you see them on the next show and they do the same thing that doesn't make sense and it doesn't look good. Well, it can be uncomfortable doing something new. But challenge yourself.
Right.
And it might be something new and it might not work out just badass the first time. But you know, trust. I mean, you know, you learn different ways to skin the cat or gut the fish or clean the deer or whatever. You know what I mean? You know, this is part of working, learning how to work and stuff. When you get into that one, you get into that rut, that comfortability. I know this routine. Then it becomes a routine, and that's what it shouldn't be. Maybe it should be a routine, but it shouldn't look like a routine.
Correct.
It shouldn't feel like a routine.
Shouldn't be hollow.
You should know being able to work. Here's another thing from Building Mind. Building Mind gave me, you know, here's the thing, man. After I got a little bitter and I said some things and whatever, and I made an ass of myself and stuff. And then as the years go by, you start. It's like all these things are just marinating in your brain.
Right.
I'd be in the old field, I'd be on a rig or something, and I'd have some in between time or something, and my head would just drift, and I would just come across something that. Okay, Billy Gunn was one of the coaches. Okay, and if anybody has ever worked with Billy Gunn, okay, I didn't quite maybe understand what he was trying to tell me at the time. He had some really good advice and stuff, and I think why his advice is really good is because he simplifies everything. You know, if you're working in fractions and you got this big fraction and it's like, damn, it looks crazy and stuff, you got a common denominator, right? Find that common denominator, and then what's that fraction? Take out some of this junky junk and just use what it really is.
Right.
But
simplify it. But
when you're lost in the maze and your gears are turning and stuff, these simple things oh, what? Yeah. You know, it could be as simple as like he came up to me one time. Hey, right before I came up, hey, I dare you to go out there and have fun. I didn't get it.
Okay.
And years later, looking back, I kept thinking, what the hell would he have meant by that? And then it was like, well, yeah, because I wasn't having fun. Right. Do it the way I know to do it and make it fun for me. I would have been better than when I was, and I know I would have been. You know, it just didn't make sense at the time.
Yeah.
What was the question?
Well, I was just going to say, I think that's, I mean, you can hear his passion. I think that was one of the things that was important when I decided to launch Ozark Mountain, was when I connected with Ivan, his experience.
Yes.
One, he's been through it. He's been, you know, he just has a ton of experience and connections within the business. So that made, you know, took a little bit of the fear from launching a promotion away, being able to work with him and the relationships he has with wrestlers, but he has a passion for training, and I mean that's one of the things that every show we've had, the things he's able to talk to young wrestlers about. Yeah. Again, be able to see what they do, and tweaks here and there that may seem small but can make a big difference in their presentation or the things they do. So that's that made it a whole lot easier for me to do what I've done, being able to work with him.
Yeah. Okay. It's one of those things that takes time to develop those processes too.
It does. Yeah. It is the biggest thing. I'm not ignorant to my position or Mike's position in this. It's a new swimming hole, I guess. All other shows I've been to, have not been near the most experienced person or the most knowledge, but this is new soil here.
Right.
Oh, and I am the fertile seed, I guess. I mean, for this area, I mean, I don't know. Might know more people than me, but not saying better or whatever. I'm just saying, with experience or been somewhere, and which is like, I mean, doesn't make me relaxed or comfortable. It's like, I better keep my eyes wide because, mistakes happen and it's okay if mistakes happen, but you need to be able to see them and correct them and know why I was wrong.
Right.
I got a lot, that 7 years in between my New Testament and Old Testament. I was in the oil field for Halliburton.
Okay.
And I've really learned a lot. I learned, and it really changed my mind working for Halliburton. Now everything's engineer geared.
Yeah.
How you engineer it to be right, and it might not be right now. You fix those things through the engineering processes and stuff. You got to observe and correct and stuff. All that kind of nerdy junk.
Yeah,
pull out your calculator and get to wrestling.
Yeah. So you took 7 years and went on the oil fields and stuff like that.
Right.
Did you change any of your wrestling style when you came back?
I mean, yeah. Well, okay. Before, like, I don't know. I was younger, so stuff didn't hurt so much. So I didn't really, I didn't really, I was pretty, willing to give a lot, and not that I'm not willing to give a lot now. It's just, you kind of look at that with a better judging eye, like, knowing how to work, knowing when to work what. Honestly, though, I feel like I'm better now than I was when I was in my 20s. Yeah. And I think that's part of it, though, also. It's kind of helped my brain pattern. And then also coming back, I mean, I spent like 7 years just thinking about different things and what I really like or don't like or what I agree with or don't agree with in a way of working and, really focus on implementing that.
Yeah.
Not get comfortable and just do what's kind of easy, but implement what you really believe in.
Right.
Even if it's the hard way to do it, it's the way that's right for me.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
You got to do what's best for you.
Yeah.
And overall, because you got to look out for yourself.
Well, yeah, and it's a bad feeling when you piss yourself off. You're looking back. You're looking at you're looking at something you did like 3 years ago, and you're like,
what was I thinking?
Or it could be your last match. I mean, if you have a bad match, that'll kill you inside until your next match, and hopefully it's not bad, because then you'll have a double whammy on you, or But really, it's a sucky feeling when you really piss yourself off for. That disappointment that you brought upon yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah,
no, I totally understand that. That's it's not a great feeling.
Yeah. Stupid feelings, man.
Feelings, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was I don't know. Yeah, I'm sorry.
You're good.
Okay,
man.
Thanksgiving. Okay, I call past the feelings. Can I have some more feelings? Past the feelings? Stuffing. I'm talking about the stuffing. Because you stuff your feelings down. Keep them inside because you stuff them.
So, do either of y'all have hobbies that y'all enjoy? Because I know you both come together.
No, we don't enjoy nothing. Right. No, I'm just kidding.
You both come together because you enjoy wrestling.
Uh-huh.
What do you guys like to do besides outside of wrestling?
All right. So, man, I like the lake out here.
Yeah.
Beaver Lake. I live right on Beaver Lake.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. Boat. Let me just hang out in the woods and get in the water and look at the trees.
Nice.
When I was in the oil field, man, and I'd come home for 5 or 6 days, and I was like, I might go to a grocery store. Other than that, I'll just stay out in my territory.
Yeah.
Well,
it's nice and secluded out there.
Yeah, no, it's pretty. Oh, it's nice. Man, what do I do, Mike? I do a lot of work. I do a lot of
work.
Man, well, I'm always doing something, man, and it's always a lot of work. And I don't know, several reasons why that comes about, but it's like I get in a perpetual motion through, and it's little sleep.
Well, you've got a young son that's beginning to get
involved in let's go. Hey, here you go.
I know
that's it. Why didn't I think of that? Oh, so I got a kid, right? And now he's doing the football and the wrestling. So, what do I'm coaching him, man. Oh, it's great. Fabulous. That was the best. Oh, dude.
Okay.
Yeah.
He was so excited about coaching his football team.
The football was great, and the wrestling is great, too. Oh, dude, it's so great. His first wrestling match at a tournament was last weekend, and his first match was against a girl, and he got beat, he got pinned, but he was so happy and excited just being out there and doing it and stuff. Like, he got up, like, you would have thought he won the match, Right. I was happy for him,
That's cool.
But he's a big 5-year-old, so he's a big 5-year-old wrestling, like, regular 7 or 8 year olds.
Oh wow!
Okay. yeah. So because it's the weight divisions and stuff.
Okay.
So it's kind of got an uphill battle for a minute, but it'll be good for him.
Yeah.
Beat him up a little bit and
toughen him up.
Yeah.
But I think for me, it's family. I mean, I know
that's true. Yeah,
we talked about that. But so I'm an empty nester now. I've got 3 kids that are out of the house. Young adults. Shouldn't say kids if they listen to this, but they're young adults, all out doing their own thing, and that's one of the I'd always wanted to do something as far as like a wrestling promotion. But with family, that's hard to do because it is time consuming. It is financially consuming. It can be.
Brain consuming, soul consuming,
right? The timing was kind of worked out really well because I can do this and not feel like I'm taking time away from my kids. They've actually all helped at the shows, which has been really cool. My wife as well. That's been really neat because they like wrestling. Okay, they're not passionate about it like I am,
right?
But for them to be at the shows that I've been able to put on with Ozark has been pretty neat. And so family time, and then we're big movie guys or movie family. We didn't do a whole lot of camping and that kind of stuff, but we spent a lot of time watching movies together and doing that. So we still enjoy doing that. And I see here in your studio a lot of the superhero stuff. We're all into all the DC and Marvel, Star Wars, all that. We could do a whole separate podcast on that sometime.
Maybe we'll have to do that.
We can do that. But, maybe I'll bring them all on. But just spending time with family.
Okay. Yeah, it's you got to have that downtime.
Oh yeah,
got to. You got to keep your mind in the. You got to set borders.
Yes.
You got to set borders, and otherwise your life turns to chaos because you didn't set the borders.
Yeah,
trust me.
Yeah.
Yep, you got to prioritize and be very intentional about your time.
Right.
So
I've definitely had to do that with this. Most of the time, what I do is I record on Monday, and then I edit, a little bit throughout the week, and I usually do it after my kids are in bed, and then I release it on the following Monday. I have it programmed. I'm usually done by Saturday or Sunday, and I've got it ready to drop that next week, So I've got a very strict schedule.
Drop it like it's hot.
That way,
that's good. Yeah, great.
I can still have time with the family and things like that, And I do work full time, so you've got to split things up, or otherwise you're going to get bogged down in one thing. And
it's easy. It's easy to obsess about the things you really
Right.
and it's okay. Not, but you got to be careful of that because then your life becomes unbalanced.
Right.
Balance is a key.
Yes, definitely.
Hello, friends. We'll get you back to your regularly scheduled podcast in just a minute. But first, Ocho here. I am the host of the Drunk Discussions podcast, a podcast that started back in 2017 and has been on hiatus for about 2.5-3 years ever since my co-host left me to go back home to Saskatchewan. But in 2022, I brought the podcast back. And although the show is still trying to refine and reestablish itself and the direction in which it's going, I would greatly appreciate it if you join me on the journey. Sometimes I do the show solo. More often than not, I have a friend or two that stops by to join me on each episode. So if you're a fan of podcasts and you're a fan of shenanigans, especially drunk shenanigans, check out the Drunk Discussions podcast, available on most major podcasting platforms, including Stitcher, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Amazon Music, iHeartRadio, and the main source of uploading is Podbean, drunkdiscussions.podbean.com, and you can give the show a follow at Drunk D Podcast on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok, or facebook.com/Drunk Discussions. Now back to your regularly scheduled podcast.
What's up, everybody? This is the Showcase, Alex Royal, brand new host of When This Microphone Hits My Mouth. You get the idea. We're going to be bringing you guys new episodes every single week, keeping the same popular style format that we had on What Can You Offer, my other podcast with John Cross. Be sure to check that one out, because every once in a while you might see another special episode, and you never know, John might cameo on this one every once in a while. But we're going to bring you unique perspectives on all things Oklahoma wrestling, pop culture, entertainment, podcasts, and really, honestly, just anything that pops up. We're just going to have a free-for-all, have conversations, have guests, and have a grand old time. So be sure to check us out every single week. The goal is to have a new episode drop every single Friday, so you, yourself, your friends, and everybody else listening to this right here can check us out. Be sure to check back.
All right, everybody. I hope that you enjoyed that part one of this two-part episode. The reason why I broke it down is because it ended up being a longer conversation than what I normally do on these, so I figured break it down, have 2 episodes out of it, and you guys will get part 2 next Monday. I've really enjoyed talking to them, and I think you guys are going to enjoy hearing this second part as well. As you're listening to this, I do have a couple more episodes that are coming out in the next few weeks. I have recording with me here soon Alex Royal, and then I also have Tommy Dean that will be recording with me. And then after that, I will also be having Big Man Thrash. I believe that episode will be coming out the day after Christmas. So, I'm very excited about these episodes that are coming out. When the new year starts, we will have some different types of interviews in January that are coming up. I have everything from an author of a book to a marketing major. I have all different kinds of people, and I'm very excited for you guys to hear them. So just stay tuned. If you guys want to follow me online, you can do so by going to Facebook and looking up at IYGADAP. That is the acronym for If You Give a Data Podcast, or as I like to say, IGADAP. You can also just go in the search and type in If You Give a Data Podcast. You can also look me up on Google. I think I'm the first 15 results that you find on there if you look up If You Give a Data Podcast. You can also follow me on Instagram, and that is at Give a Data Podcast. You can follow me on Twitter and on Hive. Those are both at dadpodcast11. Also on TikTok and Snapchat, and those are both at IGADAP as well. Follow me on this. I update everything regularly. On different ones, sometimes I ask some questions, saying, oh, well, what do you guys think about this? Do you have ideas that you have for me? I'd like to get feedback. I like to interact with my listeners as well. You can also send me an email if you want to interact with me that way. And my email address is at giveadatapodcast@gmail.com. I always look forward to hearing from you guys, and I can't wait to hear more from you. I did put a thing out there this past week, asking. I'm kind of a planner. I have people scheduled all the way up into February now for this show, and March will be the year anniversary of this show, and I want to do something special. So I'm trying to get some feedback from you guys and see what you guys would like to see. Red James has already reached out and put a comment on that post and got a laugh from me. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, send me a line. Tell me what you would like to see. I want you guys to know I am very excited about what's coming up in the future. Also, my merch is out there. Go and give it a look. I will have links to it in my show notes. You can also find links to it on my Facebook and my Twitter and other pages like that. Go look them up. There's some cool designs. I have new stuff that's coming out. I just came up with a new design today as I'm talking, and I can't wait to show you guys that one, so it should be pretty cool. So I'm going to bring this episode to a close. Like I said, the second part of this episode will be out next Monday, so make sure that you tune back in and listen to it then. If you liked this first part of the episode, go and rate it and review it and tell me what you thought. I want to give a special shout out to my sponsor, R&L Designs. They have their Christmas stuff that's coming out, so make sure and go and look on their pages. I have all of their pages in my show notes. Go and follow them. They have really good products. So yeah, I love you guys. I hope that you have a wonderful week, and I will see you next time. Bye. If you enjoyed our show, come back next week. Come on, guys. You know you want to come back. Might get some laughs.
This podcast is part of the OIW Podcasting Network.